Brothers Bloom is a 2009 independent comedy film that's more of, it's kind of in the vein of those caper crime films from like the 60s and the 70s, you know, like The Sting. And this movie, The Brothers Bloom, is written and directed by Rian Johnson, the director of the upcoming Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi. And as you guys probably know, if you've seen my Brick review, I wanted to do a review on all of his movies leading up to Last Jedi, and this is the second one, and there's only one more after this. The Brothers Bloom follows two brothers, Stephen and Bloom. These two have become two of the world's leading con artists, and when the younger of these notorious siblings announces a plan to go legit, his brother implores him to carry out just one more job that involves a very eccentric millionaire. And while during the con, the younger brother begins to see that it's much harder to say no to his brother's plan simply because, though he wants to go legit, he still wants to be able to live comfortably during, so he doesn't know if he actually wants to leave or if he does truly enjoy this. Adrian Brody plays Bloom, and I was actually continuously confused throughout the film because the film's called The Brothers Bloom, and you have the one guy who's named Bloom, but I actually did check using Wikipedia. His name is actually Bloom. Okay. Bloom is the younger of the brothers, you know, the one who actually wants to leave this life of crime, and he's, for all intents and purposes, the main character, and he's usually the main character for the siblings' con games, you know, with his brother Stephen being the one who actually creates all these different scenarios, every little tiny detail for each con, and because of that, Bloom's getting really tired of living one life after the other. He really feels like he isn't his own person because of all the roles that he's had to play. And watching this film actually made me think of something that I had once heard from my fiancée Mallory, who is a lover of psychology, specifically typology, and she likes to watch celebrities in interviews and likes to see if she can guess what their type is, you know, like INFJ, ISTP, you know, that kind of stuff, if you're familiar with typology. And every once in a while, she'll mention that an actor is great in a role or many roles, but that during their interviews, they seem like they don't really have a personality in real life. And that seems to be what's going on with Bloom, because he feels like he's not a real person, like he doesn't have a personality simply because he just does nothing but act. And I think that maybe the writing for Bloom was actually a lot smarter than probably most people give it credit. And also, I gotta say, I loved Adrian Brody in this. This came maybe a few years after his Oscar-winning role in The Pianist, so I was really looking forward to seeing him in this movie, and I really loved him in this. He gave a very soft and sincere, kind of existentially sad performance. And of course we have the brother Stephen, who's played remarkably by Mark Ruffalo. I mean, this was just perfect casting. He was great. And Stephen, as I said, is the mastermind behind the brothers' different cons. And he's really good at it, compared to Bloom, who doesn't enjoy what he's doing, really, well, somewhat, but Stephen gets a fucking adrenaline kick from all of this. He will never stop, nor does he really want to stop. It's too exciting for him, coming up with these plans and writing backstories and such for Bloom. But at the same time, Stephen realizes that Bloom does want to go straight, and he really wants to help out his brother because he loves him. So, he just wants to help him get what he wants in the end. He just doesn't go about it the right way pretty much all the time. And then we have the eccentric millionaire, Penelope, who is played very well by Rachel Weisz. I mean, I really haven't seen her in anything that she has disappointed us in. And Penelope is someone who got her fortune from, like, old family money, you know, like, I think they describe the family as kind of like a Carnegie sort of thing, like, he owned a lot of, or one of her ancestors bought up a lot of land to build a railroad, so that's where she gets a lot of the money from. And because it's old family money, it's not really something that she thinks on. She'll crash a Lamborghini and then order a new one literally the same day. And at first she can seem like she'll be a bit of a boring character with no social skills, which she does lack those skills, but she's definitely not boring. In one of the goofiest montage sequences I've ever seen, she shows off all of these weird skills that she self-taught herself just by reading and just showing herself as very intelligent and quirky, but she's still very vulnerable because of her limited interaction with the world, because there's some things that are explained in the movie where she actually had to stay in for most of her life because they all thought that she was basically allergic to everything that the known world has, like any kind of disease. They don't really explain that. It's just more of a blanket statement, you know, I'm allergic to everything. So she stayed in, no social interaction, but she just read all the time and learned random shit. Rian Johnson showed with his first film, Brick, which I already reviewed and will leave the link for in the description down below. He showed that he loves toying with those classic film aesthetics because in Brick he did a lot with noir film, or that noir film aesthetic. And he brought us his love of film, just in general, in this con man buddy cop comedy. And the effect is undeniably self-conscious, mannered even, but it stops just short of being the Deadpool level of meta. You know, like, it doesn't break the fourth wall, but you can definitely tell that this isn't supposed to be taken too seriously. The film sadly does become a bit more serious at the end, which sometimes that can actually be a good thing, but it's good, but then it's not. It's just, it goes into more of a, okay, we're gonna go from the self-conscious film to what you think, oh, excuse me, I had the hiccups, to what a crime film would actually feel like kind of way. And it made me feel actually, yeah, it made me feel less invested in the entire story, especially because there was a sort of whimsical element to everything that was going on in the first two acts and then a little bit of the first part of the third act. And I just became really attached to it. And once the shift in atmosphere went from whimsical to serious, the serious bits just become a bit jarring. And there's just one twist after another, and it just hampers the rest of the film, especially with the emotional payoff at the end, because it was one of those things where it's like, you know, is this a con? Is this real? It's that kind of shit. It just kept happening back and forth and back and forth, and in the end, I wasn't as invested as I wanted to be in this movie. In the end, I did enjoy Brothers Bloom. I think that it's a fun movie. I was expecting something more, especially because Johnson's first film was Brick, and I gave that a pretty good rating. I wasn't expecting anything as awesome as Brick, but I was still expecting something better. But as I said, I still enjoy it, and I still think it's worthy of 3 reels for my rating. Well, that'll do it for me today. As I said, I will, in the next couple of weeks, be doing the last Rian Johnson film. I will be doing a review on that, and that film is called Looper, in case you've never heard of it. And once I'm done with that, I'll be fully prepared for The Last Jedi, which is only coming out in weeks. Oh, God. Anyway, please subscribe if you haven't already for more reviews and content. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and farewell until the next video. Bye, guys.